it would appear, it would appear that I myself personally and others that I know have received some sort of criticism about making comment about the misdeeds, and I will call them misdeeds, of the governing body commission of ISKCON. Well, I'm simply stating the truth. So many devotees out here have difficulties. Now, specifically here in Australia, we know for a fact that the GBC, some of the GBC members, they don't really care for the devotees. Now, one may say, oh, well, that's a pretty damning blasphemous statement, but it isn't. All one has to do is come to Australia and interview hundreds of devotees, and they will tell you how they feel about the GBC, who, according to how Srila Prabhupada set up the GBC, how they're supposed to manage, spiritually manage, but they don't do that.
No.
It's as though they have themselves set up in such a way with the ignorance of the temple presidents, temple authorities, and I say ignorance meaning a lack of knowledge of their rights, according to this legally binding document, the directions of management. They don't know their rights. So therefore the GBC has themselves set up in such a way that they are the authorities over the temple presidents, and they have a say as to how things are to go. And that is wrong, because Srila Prabhupada specifically states in his document that the temples are to be run by local temple devotees.
Autonomously.
Autonomously, yes, autonomously. But the GBC has themselves set up in such a way that it doesn't happen that way. So you have this hierarchy, these GBC guys up here, temple presidents here, who don't really know their rights. They're legally binding constitutional rights for how they should run the temple and the society. And as I stated earlier, this is sad. This is indeed sad.
So the word president, and Prabhupada specifically mentions it there, there's a president, a treasurer, and a...
what was it? Temple commander.
For each temple.
Yes.
Secretary, treasurer, and president.
Yes.
Okay. Now, president has to be elected.
Yes. He states that also.
So my point is, how are they elected? Who elects them? And what's the period of their term in office? 3 years.
Yes, it states in the document.
So if a person's not elected, what are they?
Well, see, that's an interesting point, because
They're a dictator.
it would appear that the GBC decides who the presidents of the temple would be, and they pay no mind to the desires and wishes of the local devotees. I'll give you an example, getting back to what I was stating earlier about the Adelaide Temple. The temple president, I will be specific now. The impropriety that was set upon the young lady was done by the temple president's son. And he had been there for some years, and when he had came, the temple was in a dilapidated state. And with credit to him, he managed to pull the temple out of that some years ago and put it on a right plane. Well, that was several years ago. And now things are such a state by which the devotees desires sincerely for him to leave. The devotees came together and they voted in mass that yes, they would like for him to be replaced by another temple president. They put that forth to the GBC member, Devamrita and Ramai Swami, and you know what? It never happened. So this president, who's still there, and the general congregation wishes him to go off and do some other service and have some other devotee from within their community as president. This is what they desire, but this is what does not happen. And this is in direct violation of Srila Prabhupada's instructions, that local devotees run the temple. Every 3 years, they elect someone. So if a person is in that position and he's elected out of office by those whom he's supposed to be managing, then this is how things should go. in order to run on smoothly. However, if you have a dictator, then things don't go that way.
No laws apply. It's only to what he dictates.
Indeed. And as a result, in Adelaide Temple specifically, it's as though there's a dark cloud hovering over the temple. But not only just Adelaide, because I'm on the internet and I'm reading about the goings on in different temples around the world, and this seems to be a reoccurring issue. And I believe, again, it all comes down to the directions of management of ISKCON not being done the way Srila Prabhupada set it up. And because of that, so much has happened. Now, some may say, Abhilasa, you are so critical of the GBC. Well, perhaps. But I have a few questions for them. Actually, I have some questions, and these questions actually are from a godbrother, Krishna Das. And when I read this document of his, I thought to myself, these are the exact questions that I have in mind. So I'm going to read some of his questions to the GBC. But first, here's something that he had to say. ISKCON has become, under the direction of the GBC over the past so many years, is not like what Srila Prabhupada wanted. Historically, ISKCON has been fraught with schisms, controversies, GBC guru and sannyasi fall-downs, brought about by sexual, criminal, moral, ethical, and philosophical deviance. We have also been faced with the GBC that has stalwartly pushed ahead with its own plans to fully corporize and centralize the ISKCON institution with modern business stratagem against the advice of many senior devotees. And this is a fact. ISKCON in many ways has been centralized and corporized, and Srila Prabhupada did not want this. It stated in his will, it stated in the direction of management, he did not want this. Yet his senior-most disciples, the GBC, have decided to go against that instruction. So my question to them is, do you feel that your knowledge and understanding is greater than Srila Prabhupada's? Do you feel as though you have the managerial and spiritual maturity to nicely guide the devotees? Do you honestly feel that? Because in my opinion, and opinion of many, you don't. And that's highly evident, and it is obvious. So, here we are. And this is why so many of us are coming forth, and we're speaking our truths. Because so much has gone wrong. So much has gone wrong. As I stated in this document, we've had GBC, we've had gurus who have fallen down. We have gurus who have taken to intoxication, drugs. We have gurus. One guru in particular was visiting the brothels in Thailand. We have other gurus who are taking LSD, having improprieties with their female disciples and some of their male disciples. And they're supposed to be leading this movement. Now, one of the dangers of this is that newer devotees who are coming forth to ISKCON, they are not familiar with many things that have happened in the past with ISKCON, and many of these accusations that I've just talked about. They are unfamiliar with this. So what happens is they are coming to ISKCON, they're following the instructions of their spiritual masters, and not really getting a full understanding of Srila Prabhupada's position. So what's going to happen in time is these gurus, these GBC guys, they're all going to die off. We're going to have their disciples running Srila Prabhupada's movement, with Srila Prabhupada at the back. And this is not right. So here we are, wanting to enlighten the wider devotee community on what's happening, and say, let's come together in mass and force the GBC to change and incorporate, rather follow Srila Prabhupada's original document, the directions of management. Do you know, today I was even informed that there was a class in a discussion rather, at the Mugwillumbah Temple here in Australia, and that this Ramai Swami has said that this direction, that Srila Prabhupada had actually altered or changed his direction of management document. Actually, I've heard that from many, yet I haven't seen a copy of this changed document. I was even told that he said that this direction of management document is an evolving document. And these were the words, evolving document. Well, to that I say, evolving document means change. When something evolves, it changes. So what they're saying is that if this document of Srila Prabhupada's legitimately incorporated legal document is evolving, that means that they're changing his document. Legally speaking, this is illegal. So I say, devotees, let us be aware, let us be mindful, with open eyes as to what's going on. And I thank you for listening. Hare Krishna.